think this will be a short meeting.
Yeah.
Maybe. You can sit wherever, but you.
Sorry about him.
I'm good.
Terrible date.
3 hours ago. Okay, I got a call that I won something from your guys' pancake thing, but I did not pick it up yesterday.
Okay.
Who do I need to grab it?
And a moment.
Kind of moment.
I can send you her contact.
Okay, that works.
Yeah.
Or I can just email
Yeah, I can send you her email.
her. That'd be fine.
I did not. Check the front desk and see, because if they found anything, they should put it in there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ari. Corey?
Got that 3 times?
Good afternoon.
I did.
Good, yourself? Yeah? I'll just be in the hot tub.
Did you go on the way?
So then,
That is why I didn't see it. I was
Sure, after playing dodgeball
We were
last
actually
night.
like D&D.
Why would you do that? That's when I met myself.
Sounds terrible. So I was gonna go when you
I felt good this morning, like, all I moved, and I was like, oh, God. Just one of my days.
No,
I
I'm starving.
I'm doing okay.
No, I can't eat for
Yes.
Did you like our
Yes,
news?
we do. So you have to call them.
Oh my.
Just raise your hand and talk.
I'm sorry, just trying to handle it.
I need the floor for about 10 minutes.
Filibustering for a few minutes. Can you close the current Senate business? I'm still making or like just go ahead and close it so I can say changes.
They're amazing. I used to have
Just like a burger.
He just made it up off the cuff. And it's like something funny. They had, in the show, they only made
I would be so energized, but now I'm just
filibuster. He does a full 15 minutes. And it is really good. Like, it's just the most nonsense.
Oh, yeah, it's Patrick. Just don't drop it.
When do you have to go to that? Well, because it goes in the
It says, I hang on to it until about
It's just like usually it's gone
I might
back.
still not take it. Like a Dungeons and Dragons thing.
That's what my shit is showing.
I don't know why Jake ran, but
I was thinking what would be the.
I need to trade up on
Oh, no, it says it's going to.
We should break it.
That's what she told me to do.
Like,
I thought I went to her today actually. Yeah.
Just
So both my wrists were fucked.
Jake ran me about.
so where's it gonna get to?
What time did it happen?
It's the evening.
I think
We're
we're
making a meeting.
out for.
Straight flash.
If it sneaks out, I will find
Someone
you
put my
now because you made yourself liable for the entire trophy as well.
I just like fell flat.
I like
so if it
hearing
sneaks out,
stories. It's
I'll take
like, well,
responsibility for whatever he does.
it was at like 1:30.
If it comes back smelling like
It was probably like a 9 a.m.
It's like champagne in it and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Why does the trophy?
Just, there better be photos of you like eating chips out of it with salsa or something. Yeah.
So we could take it to Waikiki.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just, I like that. Or just like a.
Ooh. You should make a hot tub for hamsters.
You should let me have the clothing representative. Because you're gonna need somebody else to, you're gonna need somebody else to sell clothing with that terrible idea.
You need a no man. You say an idea and then they say no. Yeah, it's like a yes man, like a high
Some
school.
people have title.
It should be.
For a terrible idea like that, yes.
There's.
No, speaking of terrible ideas.
There's folders on the thing.
I know where
the shoe. I will let like a bunch of them populate. Like, it'll be busy, but not always consolidate.
And just pretend like it's okay.
See, I don't lie to myself, I know it.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
I have one folder per semester.
every day. Just
I'll see.
Oh my God.
All my
It's crazy, but that one.
That is
I don't
Corey, could you deal with this? Straight
I'll
up.
go for president. You are a president.
That's for my final report. And one semester, I played off my.
You're like a Mr. Rogers. You just can't say anything.
We're not a president.
You gotta poo-poo.
No, I don't have it. I forget
always
So
red.
who's the same?
Like the sun is
Our stuff's not clean.
Oh, and this.
Okay.
We're studying at Center. I don't know where yet.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get set up these.
Don't try to, I'll keep you honest.
Okay.
You don't get.
Are we gonna have the very waffles tonight?
No, we're having meetups.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, yeah.
so
Did you tell me?
I won't tell you, but I don't want you to.
What? I don't care. It actually is like.
I feel really good at
Mine is
myself
still,
just because
it'll
I
stay.
it's making me
Because he's vice
uncomfortable.
president.
Right now.
Interesting. Yeah, well,
I also have.
I didn't go for it. We were deeper in
Okay, well, really quick before we get started though, I'm gonna pass this around. Dean Man asked me to do this so that I know some of you guys have a test tonight if you didn't get a chance to sign it last time. This is for next Wednesday, May 3rd, we are doing a special meeting with the consultants who are helping to design the institutional profile and to look for candidates that will be used for the next presidential, the presidential candidates that will, the committee will review. So if you're interested, they're trying to get a widespread of people. We have some people who aren't senators on here, and then they also would like to meet with the Senate. So if you are interested, if you're available, it's just going to be the same time as the Senate meeting normally would. Please sign up. I'll pass this around. I'll just start down there with Gina. And if you signed it and you are no longer able to make it, just cross your name off. But this is a really important meeting, actually, because it will help select. I mean, it will help shape the process for selecting the next presidential candidate. Well, the candidates for the presidential search. Okay, so moving on to roll call. Approval.
Barto. Barto.
Here.
Bottom.
Here.
Elmore. Grothy.
Present.
Clum.
Here.
Knox.
Here.
Lopez.
Here.
Rio.
Here.
Rogers.
Here.
Schumann.
Here.
Svita.
Here.
Davidakis. Here. Elvidakis.
Here.
Right.
Here.
Knudsen.
Here.
Joseph.
Here.
Shaw.
As there are no proxies, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Are there any changes, corrections that you guys would like to make to this week's meeting agenda? All right, passes by unanimous consent. The meetings did not, or the minutes did not get sent out. I'll send them out tonight tonight or tomorrow with the meeting minutes from last week, and then we'll approve them next year. Go ahead.
Just point of information. Are the meeting minutes from the Hall of Fame meeting ever gonna get sent out?
I will ask them. I see what happens. And if so, I will send those out with those as well. Okay. We have no open floor guests, so moving on to unfinished business. Resolution 17-006, Campus Kids Constitution change.
Campbell Oberpriller, resolution number 17-006. Since this is the second reading, I will not read it again.
Is there discussion on this resolution?
Motion to approve.
Second. All right, motion to approve has been made by Senator Lopez and seconded by Senator Wright. Is there any discussion on the on the motion? Okay, we'll move on to roll call vote.
Barto.
Aye.
Bottom.
Aye.
Elmore.
Aye.
Clum.
Aye.
Knox.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Rio.
Aye.
Rogers.
Aye.
Schumann.
Aye.
Svita.
Aye.
Davidakis.
Aye.
Elvidakis.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Joseph.
Aye.
Knudsen.
Aye.
Shaw.
All right, resolution passes. I'll send this out to campus community or campus kids and then to hospital. Moving on to resolution 17-007, Steel Bridge supplemental funding.
Campbell Oberpriller, resolution number 17-007 is the second reading of that.
Discussion on this resolution. All right. Senator Clum?
Motion to approve.
There's a second. Motion to approve was made by Senator Clum, seconded by Senator Seacock. Is there discussion on the motion? Okay, we'll move on to a roll call vote.
Barto.
Aye.
Bottom.
Aye.
Elmore.
Aye.
Clum.
Aye.
Knox.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Rio.
Aye.
Rogers.
Aye.
Schumann.
Aye.
Svita.
Aye.
Davidakis.
Aye.
Elvidakis. Elvidakis.
Aye.
Wright.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Moving on to resolution 17-008, the Congress new supplemental funding.
So Campbell Overpiller resolution number 17S008, as this is the second reading, I will not read it.
Discussion on this resolution. Very quiet. Senator Avedek.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? All right, motion to approve is made by Senator Avedek, seconded by Senator Wright. Is there discussion on the motion? We'll move on to a roll call vote.
Bartle,
Aye.
Autumn, Elmore.
Aye.
Thumb.
Aye.
Knott,
Aye.
Lopez,
Aye.
Reno,
Aye.
Rogers,
Aye.
Schuman,
Aye.
Sweetback,
Aye.
Davidakis.
Aye.
Elvedakis. Wright,
Aye.
Joseph,
Aye.
Gibson,
Pass.
Shaw.
Aye.
Knudsen.
Aye.
Resolution passes. As this is the last meeting, we have no new business, so, and we also don't have the vice president's report still unless they don't have any. As for my report, I've got quite a few things on here. So I mentioned that sign-up sheet, is it getting passed around? Yeah, it's right here. This is really important, and I encourage you guys all to come and voice your opinions. You represent a unique group of students on campus, each of you, and so it's really important that you're there too. It's going to be driven by the consultants, but you know they're really looking for diverse opinions on all of this. So if you can make it next week, it's just regular time. I know there's probably some finals getting out right at 5, so or possibly in finals. So obviously, you know, if that's the case, then you can't be here. But I highly encourage you to do that. It's at 5 p.m.
Is it in the bump lunch?
It is, yes. So then next Friday is the open forum for President Wilson, or open house, I think is actually what it's being called. Did I say next Friday? I'm sorry, 2 days from now. There's an open house from 1 to 3. We are going to be presenting her with her senior hat at that time. It's going to be at 2 p.m. is when we are presenting it. And so if you guys could be there, it'd be really awesome if we could have, you know, a lot of student senate there. I know Nishanti is going to be there. It was sort of, you know, her project that she helped start. If you haven't signed it, I highly encourage you to go down and sign it. It's pretty full, which is really cool. Are there any questions on that? Okay. Next, volunteers for the spring fling. I'm going to pass this around again. We don't have anyone currently working 7:30 to 8:30. If we could just get at least one volunteer for that time session. And there's a couple things we need to talk about on this. There was a change in the event schedule in that Rest Life is no longer sponsoring the event, or they're at least not sponsoring to the extent they have in the past. And Jen contacted me this week and was wondering if we would be willing to financially support we're going to be running the cotton candy machine. She wants to know if we would be willing to rent it. It comes out to just over $80. My thought is that this would be a use that we could use primarily the presidential discretionary fund. But I feel like this is a really good use. The event is on the flyer and stuff. It says sponsored by Student Senate. So I'm going to kind of open it up, and maybe this should fall under open discussion. I'll just bring it up then. But just so you guys have a heads up that that's something that I'd like to talk about, and we could figure out what we want to do then. Volunteers. The junior candidate, now that Ezra is now our CFO, we have an open. I have contacted the next in line, you know, the person who received the next highest vote, and he hasn't gotten back to me yet. I mean, I can share that with you. It's Joseph Updike, if you guys know Joe. He's the next one on there, so I contacted him. We'll see, and then I'll continue down the list. If no one on the list wants to, then we'll open it up to the whole school, you know, to apply. Late night study breakfast, and a lot of these will fall under Senate business, but I just want to make sure that you guys are really aware of them. Late night study breakfast is this Sunday. There's an expectation as a senator that you're there. You don't have to work the whole time. This is as much of an event for you as it is that you're helping out with. So there'll be plenty of time to eat, to hang out and stuff as well. But it'd be really great if you can make it. Try to be there by 8:30. 8:30 was when you wanted to say, yeah. And so if you need to show up later, go ahead. If you're not going to be able to make it, would you just send me an email or a text or something and let me know why? Just so that we have kind of a record of senders showing up. The polos. Now that we've kind of had our transition meeting with Aaron, we're going to get the polos rolling. I know people don't have access to the F drive, and so how many people don't have access to the F drive? You should just be okay. So will you come see me after the meeting? I need your student IDs and your last names, which I have, just to make sure that they well, I need a pair of them. But that way I can get you access to the F drive, and then we'll probably do polos at the beginning of the well. I'll talk to you guys individually. They'll be $10 if you're willing to buy one. It's kind of an expectation that you will purchase one so that you can wear it to the meetings and to all the events that you need to attend as a senator. Did you have something, Ben? No. Then the F drive access was all I had. Is there anything that you guys have for me that I didn't cover? Okay. Moving on to committee reports. Constitution?
Yes. So my committee and I talked about some goals for the summer and next semester, which I'll go into later, but we still don't have the ISI digital constitution, and we're still waiting on the debate club to see if they're going to redo their constitution or if they're going to find their old one. And then the cyber defense team, I'm still on hold, like waiting for Brian to answer my email, so we probably won't approve them as an organization until next semester. And then for our goals for the summer, just to kind of let you guys know, because we'll probably be sending out some emails, we're hopefully going to write in our constitution some like different scheduling for like our deadlines of like when we hold elections and things like that. And then clearly laying out what each committee does and what each paid position does. And then talking with you guys, which I don't know if this will happen this summer or next semester, about if we want clubs to come in to present, if like we as a constitution committee don't feel like they would be a good club to have on campus. Same like with how SOAP funding, like supplemental funding, sometimes they come in and talk to us and sometimes they don't based on what the finance committee feels, but kind of laying that out in our constitution so that it's consistent for years in the future. And then laying out a guideline for a constitution for like my new committee members that come next year so that they know kind of what to look for. And then next semester, hopefully meeting regularly with SALC so that we can kind of be more in tune with MindsLink. Then making sure that people know why we have activity reports each semester and clearly laying them out, and then having a Robert's Rules of Order forum so that people know how to do it. That's it.
All right. Any questions?
Just have a comment. Sounds like you guys are doing a lot. So and you probably know this, but if we get the constitution changes done by then we'll be able to vote on them right away. So.
Anything else for Constitution? Okay, Dion.
Alright, don't really have much to talk about, but so I'll just kind of go over the goals and objectives. I really want to amp up awareness of what's gone through as like South Dakota legislation, and I'll be like probably purchasing a cork board and posting it somewhere within SERVAC or the SALC, and just to like make it really accessible to students so they can see what's going through the SU legislation, and then I want to increase participation in Senate morale this year so we can get as many people together as possible. And then we're going to be increasing fundraising efforts via the Rocker Shop this year. And Caitlin, Cohen, and I met with the Rocker Shop today, and they said that, or yesterday, sorry, we met with them yesterday, and they said that they won't be dealing with the tickets whatsoever, just like kind of the middleman handling the money and with credit cards and stuff. So I'll be in contact with them to work out the wrinkles this summer. So that's kind of all up in the air. And then I was also in contact with Geraldine Roberts today, and she said, in regards to the parking spot. So since we are raffling it off this for like May and like the summer and stuff, we will be returning it back to the campus so they can like just have anyone park there, or I believe it was a faculty member. So he'll get his spot back. And that is it. That's my vote.
Questions from Jeff? Okay, moving on, finance.
The state of finances are smashing. And so the two resolutions that heard tonight are the last of the season, so we won't be hearing any more. We did get a lot of survey results from the library improvement survey that we sent out. To be specific, we got 208 since Monday, which is fantastic. So I was going over those. I can kind of sum them up here. 64% of people are already satisfied with the study rooms, but when we asked the question if how many people would like to see rolling whiteboards, 82% of people would like to see those. As far as comparing chalk and whiteboard, 65% of people like whiteboard, but 18% of people like chalkboard, and then 15% of people prefer both. As far as the noise issues in the room, we had the majority of people, 65% of people, never having noise issues in rooms 301 and 302, which is the one with the division wall that's not soundproof. And also, 57% of people would not use the room more often if it was soundproof. So that was interesting. We got a lot of comments. Most people said some very strong words in these comments, man. A lot of people were like, don't raise tuition. We're not going to raise tuition. And other people were asking to not do anything expensive, not change any walls around. They're fine with that. But a lot of people said rolling whiteboards would be really nice, making those tables in there rollables. You can just kind of like roll the chairs around in the tables. And then 90% of people said that they thought improving study areas is a worthwhile investment. So I think that pretty much sums it up. I think 200 people is a good number to move forward, thinking that this is something we want to do. And at this point, the committee that's assigned to making the changes, I think is going to take it from here, contact the library, and I'm going to contact Heather Forney to reserve the funds and then move forward, either just doing whiteboards or making a decision based on sort of going forward. End of report.
Questions or comments?
Were there any previous complaints of like noise and stuff in 301 and 302?
Other than Senator Knudsen, I'm not aware of any of those complaints.
I was just like wondering where like the idea came from to like put down a permanent wall or whatever.
Right, well, I have been in the rooms myself and noticed that they're noisy. If it's just me and there's like a noisy room right next door. So I personally have experienced it. But that being said, I'm not aware of too many that have specifically reached out to me saying for that type of thing.
Anything else from finance? I would just make sure that those results are available to anyone who's going to be serving on that committee.
How long is the survey open until? It's only been out since Monday.
Right. So the survey's open indefinitely at this point. I checked it yesterday and there was 180, and then I checked it this morning and there was like 201, and then now there's 208. So they're still trickling in, but I think they're slowing down a little bit.
Anything else from finance? Okay. And just a reminder for those people, I have it down that Senator Shaw, Reel, Joseph, Public Science, Deepak will be working on that committee over the summer to help make those decisions and figure out exactly what needs to be done.
Shaw, Reel, Deepak. And Joseph, I'll email all of this to you guys.
Okay. Is there anyone else who will be here this summer that wants to be on that? Okay. Moving on, student affairs.
So, we're doing a couple things, and over the summer, we'll be trying to kickstart a couple of those. So one of our main things is increasing hard rock compliance, as I've mentioned before. And I was talking with PR, and we'll be working with Gitmedics to make a new video. I don't know for commencement, no, convocation. Yeah. for convocation during orientation, Joe Lucan sometimes, like he used to, my year he showed a video with like thumbs up everyone to go for games. He didn't do that last year. But something on those lines, but we want to involve more students in the thing, more like a hard rocker pride thing than a hard rocker athletic thing. And it's a win-win for athletics and us. So we're trying to get some funds from them and some support and maybe help them do the video. Next thing is the School Spirit Challenge. It's going to be named differently. We don't know what it's going to be yet. So I'll be meeting with Corey over the summer and the foundation and athletics. And we won't be starting this till next fall, but we might test it maybe a little bit over the spring semester, but officially it'll be open next fall. Yeah, but next fall, the fall of 2018, we'll be kicking it.
So
not this one, the next one. And I'm gonna try and see if an old athlete or someone who was like really 100% hard rocker, filled with pride, wants to like have a scholarship for this. So it's one person winning the thing every year. Have a leaderboard going throughout the year in Survey about it. And one thing I thought is like more student interaction. People should know more what's going on here. So maybe like have a whiteboard or a poster in Survey with like a resolution and like a yes/no column. Like what people think throughout the week before we vote on it. So that'll be another thing I'll do. Are there any questions?
Anyone else for a question? Okay. Did any camps or ad hoc committees meet?
We skipped PR.
I skipped PR.
You're good.
PR, would you like to give your report?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So we met this week and we bounced some ideas off of each other that we want to see happen in the next year. And one thing that we want to focus on is efficiently advertising the Hard Rocker Discount Program. So we see benefits not only for the students, but also for the businesses that are so kindly taking part in that. Another thing that we want to try to get done in the beginning, first couple weeks of the school year, is have some sort of open forum for primarily freshmen, but like if other students want to come, they can come as well. And that way we can kind of tackle the separation between student body and Senate grade by grade as the freshmen move through their years here. So we're hoping that that can happen in the first couple weeks. Make it fun, have some food, some games, not all just info being thrown at them. So we're working with Student Affairs on the Pride video for Hard Rockers, and then we've been in contact with University Relations and are going to work on updating the Senate website.
Questions for Pia? All right. Did any campus or ad hoc committees meet? And I know they should all be posted. Everyone has access to read it, right? Did everyone get a chance to see the committees? Yeah, if you wouldn't mind just letting the new contacts, some of them won't meet. I've been CC'd on a couple of those emails. Some of them won't meet until next year, next spring even. So if you there's a contact. If you find that the contact changed between what's on that sheet and like who's in charge of that committee now, please send that my way and I'll make the change and then I'll update the sheet. Okay. Open discussion. Do we want to talk about potential for using discretionary funds to fund climate change? Thoughts on that?
Since the funds will be coming out of this fiscal year and we have leftover money in the budget that isn't designated for anything else right now, I see no problem with it. And it's benefiting the student body, so.
I second that.
Yeah.
So if we didn't fund it,
yes.
would Airmart just have to foot the bill?
No, I think it would come out of personal cost, which is fine. But fine. It's
We don't have the option to stick it to Airmart.
no, because it was sort of like there was a stop it. It was sort of like a communication issue between last year. Res Life had sponsored it, and so we weren't aware that the candy machine hadn't been rented. We just thought we were supplying the floss until like fairly recently.
Is this excluding the possibility of massage chairs? It's taking away the possibility of massage chairs. Okay. Just want to clarify
Right.
We probably won't decide on massage chairs before the end of the fiscal year, so.
Any other discussion on this? Okay, if I could just take an informal vote on this, just so I kind of have an idea. Those in favor of using discretionary funds to fund the cotton candy machine, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Okay, awesome, thanks. Any other items for open discussion? No? Okay. Okay, moving on to upcoming Senate business. So, tomorrow is the spring fling. Did that get around? Did it get passed all the way around? Sweet. And it looked like when it came this way, we had volunteers for all the time slots. So thank you, everyone. Make sure you know which time slot. I'll just send out an email tonight, reminding you guys. So a couple things. Open house for President Wilson is this Friday. We talked about that. Presentation on behalf will be at 2 p.m. It's in the Surbeck Ballroom from 1 to 3. If you can't make it at 2, that's totally fine. But I encourage you to stop by and as we know, her time here is getting very close to a close. It'd be really great to see student presence at the open house. The Mines Advantage Barbecue, I know Jay told me they at least like 16 people had RSVP'd, so that's good. It's going to be a Watiki now. If you don't want to swim or anything like that, you can get just like spectator passes, which is really easy. There's going to be food there. If you have an RSVP, you need to just go to the calendar invite and hit yes, and he'd really appreciate that. He said it needs to be done by the time he leaves the school on Friday. So if you still haven't done it, please do it by Friday. Another thing, I mentioned this briefly. Dr. Dowding, as the advisor for SPS, has invited us to their sort of end of the year barbecue. He was very appreciative for the work that Senate put in towards organizations, specifically SBS. He said that we've supported them very, very well, and they'd like to reward us. He moved it to Sunday now at 5 p.m. The address is right there. If you're able to go, would you? Well, is there anyone that thinks that they're going to be able to go and would be willing to go? It's free food. Okay, so we've got 3, 4. Okay, I'll probably just throw it up on the Facebook and just like the message if you're going to attend, and anyone who doesn't have Facebook is just Is there anyone else who doesn't? Okay, then I'll send your shop personally. But yeah, and more details on that. Once I let him know how many people roughly are going to be coming, then we can talk about logistics if we want to carpool, that sort of thing. I talked about late night study breakfast. Please be there. I know it's a lot of things in this next week, and I know it's a crazy week, but it settles down towards the beginning of next year for those senators who maybe are worried that this is like an every week occurrence syndrome.
You want to start at 8:30, right? For the breakfast?
Yeah, if possible, especially if you're going to help during that first hour or the first 30 minutes, hour, whatever. If there's a lot of people there, there's going to be a lot of work that we can just pass off, kind of run cycles, and then you can just enjoy yourself for some of it. We've talked about employee service recognition reception. Brent will be attending that, presenting our award, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. Is there any other upcoming Senate business that's not on there?
You know what the dress attire is?
No, but I will find out for you. And I'll just send you an email.
Is this for
Employee reception.
yeah, like professors. Yes.
Business card.
Business.
Yeah, business casual.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anything else that needs to be on the Senate radar for
Do we want to put presidential search forum on there at all?
Oh yeah, I'll throw that on there. Good call.
Are we expected to wear clothes for the open house of President Wilson?
Not as much. If you can, that'd be nice. Especially since Senate's giving the hat. But I would definitely try to wear it for the late night study breakfast since we're helping out with it. That sort of thing. Send it around.
And if you want to serve food for the breakfast, if you're a person with long hair, make sure you can wear your hair.
Anything else for Senate business? Okay, moving on to announcements. Are there any announcements? Senator Anderson.
It is Senator Shaw's birthday today.
Oh, and if I'm correct, it is also in the past week it has also been Senator Bottom's birthday.
And Senator Bottom's birthday.
Today?
No.
Was it?
Time ago.
We've got three birthdays. Senator Shaw.
Remember our conversation on Monday?
No, overruled. Is there a volunteer who would be interested in leading us in perhaps a song?
Summer.
Motion to have Shaw and Bottom stand in front.
Yes, I will. Yes, I will.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion for the senators with birthdays to stand at the front of the room has been made by Senator Elvidekis and seconded by Senator Wright. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, get up there.
We don't think so.
Is there anyone that would like to start?
Where's Summer?
It's missing quiet.
Ezra.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
I think we should apologize.
Like most of you guys.
Ezra, I didn't know what that was, but I love it.
And are there any other announcements? All right. Are there any other announcements? Senator Croce.
Cover party is on Friday, and it is 100% funded. So every $1 you pay to get in to party goes to cover boys. And it's all you guys living in the dorms who have extra leftover flex and you want to get rid of it. You buy 3 cans from Minor Shack, it's $5 off. And those cans go to feeding someone. So it's a win-win. You get to party for charity.
Is it 3 cans or $5 off?
Yeah, 3 cans. And we're selling pre-sale tickets in Grocer back tomorrow during lunch, and on Friday during lunch. And right now, till 7 o'clock. Grocer back.
All right. Any other announcements? Oh, sorry. Did you have one?
It's 18 plus or 121 to bring. And bring your ID, don't forget it. Not your student ID. An actual driver's license.
Any other announcements? Senator Robertson? Okay, Senator Knudsen.
So Secret Santa is right around the corner. So I'm going to start thinking about it over the summer. It's going to be a big deal.
Senator Croce. Well, one more thing. I just want to thank you guys. I know these last couple of meetings have been fairly short. There hasn't been a lot of discussion because a lot of things are just sort of like cleaning up at the end of the semester. I really encourage you to reach out to constituents at the beginning of next semester, especially when there's new people on campus. Just getting the voice of the opinion or the voice of the students and making sure that their opinions are heard. With that, you'll be contacted a little bit over the summer in regards to upcoming Senate projects and trying to stay involved and make sure that you don't just like put off Senate for the summer. But with that, I don't have anything else. Oh, yeah. Senator Wright.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right. Motion to adjourn was made by Senator Wright, seconded by Senator Joseph. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's my bad. I should have done what I should have
We're still on your time to get our maps.
I think I got